The Art of War by Sun Tzu, created by Gravitas Dream. A simple book turns into a doorway. Its pages talk about winning before the first move and the cost of doing it late. The map beside it feels like every map that ever mattered. The strategist reads the room before reading the map. He counts time, distance, and mood like numbers that never lie. The lesson is quiet. The best victory is the one that starts with no panic. The rival strategist wants clean lines and quick applause. He trusts force more than timing, and certainty more than questions. The book's margin stares back like a warning he refuses to read. The patron doesn't ask how the plan works, only how fast it ends. Reputation is the real battlefield, and it never sleeps. A single word hangs over the room. Results. The scout lives where truth gets rewritten. He trades in fragments, a glance, a rumor, a scrap of paper. In his hands, information becomes a weapon no one sees. The quartermaster measures victory in weight and minutes. Every mile costs something: food, fuel, sleep, trust. He keeps the war from eating itself. The signal officer turns chaos into cadence. One late message can undo a week of work. Timing is not drama here, it is survival. The chronicler watches what leaders forget to count. He records the small costs, tired eyes, shaking hands, the silence after orders. He knows history is built from details people try to hide. A cold morning and simple tools. Powder, iron, patience. In this kind of war, a rumor moves faster than a rider, and a hill can matter more than a speech. The strategist keeps the plan small enough to carry. He looks for rivers, roads, and the places where fear will slow a column. Terrain is a silent ally when you listen. The recruit wants to be brave, but bravery is not a plan. He learns to move quiet, keep spacing, and watch for the first sign of panic. Discipline he finds is courage done on purpose. Before radios, a beat and a color carry intent. A wrong rhythm can send people the wrong way and turn order into confusion. The signal officer makes timing visible. The scout becomes whoever the street expects to see. He listens more than he speaks, and he leaves with answers hidden in ordinary words. Deception is shaping what the other side believes. The commander carries the plan in his body. He has to hold fear in one hand and order in the other. When the first shot comes, the map becomes instinct. The rival loves neat formations and predictable marches. He assumes the other side will behave like a diagram. The strategist knows the real edge is making the enemy feel safe right before they are wrong. The chronicler draws what the eye will forget. He notes how tired men look older than they are. Even in victory, he writes, the cost arrives early. The war moves on rails and wires as much as on roads. A message can outrun men, but only if it reaches the right hands. Logistics becomes strategy by another name. The strategist watches rivers like they are doors. He asks where a line can break without anyone noticing. The best move is the one that makes the enemy chase shadows. The quartermaster does not argue philosophy, he argues numbers. When food runs thin, morale collapses fast. He keeps the army alive long enough to matter. Signals turn distance into coordination. A flag in the wrong wind, or a wire cut in the mud, can undo an entire day. The signal officer plans for failure, not perfection. The commander feels the weight of every order. He knows people do what they understand, not what you meant. Clear words are as valuable as powder. The healer counts time in breaths, not victories. He argues for short wars because long wars make suffering routine. Even when the plan works, he asks what it cost to make it work. The rival wants a single decisive push. He believes willpower can replace information. The strategist keeps asking the same question: what do we not know yet? The chronicler sees how the landscape holds memory. A burned bridge changes more than travel. It changes what people believe is possible. He writes it down so the lesson cannot pretend it never happened. The trench is a machine that eats time. The air smells like wet earth and tired steel. Here, patience is not calm, it is endurance. The strategist stops looking for glory and starts looking for exits. He teaches that a strong front is often weakest at its edges. One quiet shift can save 1,000 loud steps. The scout learns to distrust what everyone repeats. He looks for patterns in rumor and for silence where there should be noise. Intelligence is not certainty, it is a better bet. Orders travel through mud and static. The signal officer repeats them until they are simple enough to survive fear. When morale dips, even a calm voice can hold a line together. The recruit learns the hardest skill: waiting. He wants to act, but the plan asks him to hold. He starts to see that discipline is a kind of mercy. The healer argues against pride. A commander can win a ridge and lose a generation to exhaustion. He reminds them, the fastest plan is often the kindest one. The rival mistakes pressure for clarity. He wants the world to be simple because he is tired of uncertainty. The strategist answers with a softer rule: adapt or pay for stubbornness. A new view changes the whole board. From the sky, roads and trenches look like lines drawn by nervous hands. The lesson is simple. Information grows when your viewpoint grows. The war has engines now and distance shrinks. Speed is a gift, but it punishes bad plans faster. The oldest rule returns: win before you rush. The strategist watches patterns instead of headlines. He looks for where the enemy expects movement, then plans to be elsewhere. Surprise is preparation. The other side didn't notice. The patron wants certainty he cannot buy. He talks about optics, allies, and tomorrow's papers. The strategist hears the same demand in every century: make it look easy. The scout turns danger into routine. He learns that the best secret is the one that looks boring. Intelligence wins wars by preventing mistakes, not by making speeches. The quartermaster fights the long war inside the short war. He rations every mile so the plan stays possible. Resources are morale in physical form. The signal officer hears the battlefield as static and code. He keeps messages short because fear makes people forget. Timing is trust delivered on time. The commander lives where plans meet mud. He makes decisions with incomplete information and full responsibility. Do not let the enemy choose your pace. The chronicler captures what victory leaves behind. He does not argue tactics, he documents consequences. Later, his pages force memory to do its job. The ocean makes every decision feel final. Steel and salt turn patience into a habit. Control the approach, and you control the outcome. Sea warfare is terrain that moves. The strategist measures currents like roads, and weather like morale. Timing becomes an ally when you make it your habit. The recruit learns that courage can sweat. Heat, salt, and distance grind people down without warning. He holds on to the simplest advice: conserve strength for the moment that matters. Over open water, a message can be the difference between arriving together or arriving alone. The signal officer keeps procedures simple enough to survive stress. He calls it discipline. The strategist calls it harmony. The scout listens for patterns in the airwaves. He learns that silence can be a signal too. When information is scarce, humility becomes a tactic. The healer keeps asking for shorter campaigns. He has seen what time does to bodies and what waiting does to minds. His quiet question follows every plan: is this worth the length of the pain? The rival trusts the screen because it looks certain. He forgets the human parts: fear, pride, confusion. The real battlefield is inside decision-making. Power can be loud, but strategy is still quiet. Machinery can carry force farther than a man can run, yet it cannot choose what matters. The lesson stays human. Decide first, then act. Speed is no longer a horse or a ship, it is a roar across the sky. Faster machines demand slower thinking. Otherwise, mistakes arrive at jet speed. The strategist teaches that the map is only half the terrain. The other half is what people believe the terrain is. He plans for morale like it is weather, changing, real, and never optional. In cold air, batteries die and voices crack. The signal officer keeps redundancy like a religion. When the plan depends on timing, communication becomes the heartbeat. The quartermaster fights the silent enemy, distance. Cold, heat, and mud all eat fuel and food. He keeps reminding everyone that a long supply line is a fragile plan. The jungle hides distance and changes the meaning of sound. The recruit learns that visibility is a resource, like water. He stops chasing certainty and starts building good habits. The scout learns that every culture has its own camouflage. He watches for what doesn't fit. A new road, a missing sign, a sudden quiet. Intelligence is empathy sharpened into method. The commander carries the burden of speed. Quick movement can save lives, but it can also scatter units and break cohesion. He learns to pause just long enough to make the next minute count. The healer sees the war's true math. Time plus fatigue equals failure. He pushes for rotation, rest, and clear limits. Morale is not a slogan, it is maintenance. The desert is open, flat, and unforgiving. Machines can see far, but they can still be fooled. The oldest trick still works. Make the enemy look the wrong way. The strategist keeps the language simple, on purpose. Technology adds options, but it also adds noise. A clear principle cuts through both. Choose the decisive moment, then commit. The rival trusts the screen because it looks certain. He forgets the human parts. Fear, pride, confusion. The real battlefield is inside decision-making. The patron wants a story as much as a result. He demands speed, certainty, and clean outcomes. Politics can force a plan to move before it is ready. The scout's battlefield is bandwidth and trust. He learns that too much data can hide the truth, as well as too little. Information must be understood to be useful. Even with satellites, the chain can break at the simplest point. The signal officer trains for clarity under pressure. Cohesion is strength that doesn't show on a chart. The chronicler finally writes the part no briefing includes. People change when they live in constant tension, and they don't always change back. He keeps the record, so the cost can't be argued away. The wars change, but the principles stay. Deception, timing, terrain, morale, and intelligence still decide what happens next. The book closes, and the lesson remains open.